A very warm good evening and thank you. Very warm good evening and welcome to the uh, 9, the You Talk Show. We really want to thank you all for your lovely comments, compliments, and appreciations. We feel very good when we see other program with the similar ideation, and we feel like our half of the aim and objective to start the show has been already completed because we find we really wanted to create a platform where we can actually learn, we can actually interact with the Indian nightingales. So we are having so many other platform, and we are really grateful to all the organizers. With that note, once again I really wanted to say thanks. And our today's concept is teamwork. So with that note, I request my team to please introduce yourself. Geeta.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, Geeta, you're audible.
Good, good evening, everybody. Myself, Geeta Sina, and I'm a emergency nurse. I have a 10 years of experience, and also I have a 1 year experience of a NIS, Nurse Informatics System. So, and I am feel proud to be a nurse.
Thank you very much, Geeta. Krish.
Hello, everyone. Good evening to all. I'm Chris Thomas. I'm an assistant professor in psychiatric nursing, and my passion is teaching. Is my passion actually. So I love to be joined with this platform. And thanks to organize Rupa and team. And once again, I got a chance to meet Bobby, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for coming here today.
Thank you, Krish. Yeah, Dolma.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I am a passionate nurse for the past 20 years. I have been working in an ophthalmic center, and recently I am into now quality coordinator. So welcome everyone for this very interesting episode of Nurse Talk Show. Welcome everyone.
Thank you very much, Dilma. Rekha Di.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Rekha Anil Kumar. I'm working from last 24 years in emergency OT ICU. Now I'm teaching from last 10 years. Thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shri ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sri Devi. I'm a very proud nurse for God knows how many, 37 years. And welcome to the show, everyone.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Well, this note, I found a very beautiful quote. A champion team can defeat the team of champions, and that's the power of teamwork. We keep listening teamwork. We found that teamwork, yeah, it is required. But have we ever thought that what are the team dynamics? What is the science behind that? And to break the myth and learn about more, we are today with the concept of teamwork. So in the beginning, I just wanted to know how many of you heard this story, Hare and Tortoise. I hope everyone. So what was the moral of that story? Slow and steady wins the race. But after this winning, the rabbit couldn't sleep whole night. And next day morning, again, he reached to the tortoise and asked him, can we have this race one at the time? Because he couldn't take this defeat healthily. And he was thinking that how he could get defeated by a, slow, lazy tortoise. And ultimately, they planned another race. So this was the another race, and this time the tortoise obviously defeated because rabbit was well planned at this time. So the moral of the story is fast and furious always defeat slow and steady. But during this journey of first and second round of race, there's a one thing which has happened with tortoise. Tortoise started feeling that he has become a little wise and he can see something out of that race. And then he developed few quality like team spirit, visionary, creativity, innovation, and ultimately he went to the rabbit this time. He said, "Hey, great! Last time you won. Congratulations for that. But I think we could have done much better if we will do it together." So this time the race was in different pattern. It was full of walking as well as swimming. And you can see during the walk, rabbit was helping the tortoise, and while crossing the river, tortoise was helping the rabbit. So that is how this is a third story with the moral: together we are strongest and we would be successful. So ultimately, when they covered, they reached to their destination, they enjoyed, they celebrated with all the animals of the jungle. So, sometimes every trivial, even we sometimes think that we are useless in this team, and sometimes leader thinking that this person is not very, right person to be chosen for the team. But every person is very important, keep its own importance for that team. So this celebration cannot be fulfilled if all the animals of that jungle would not be there. So ultimately, everybody is important part of team. And with that note, I really want to welcome today's master, a master, with a visionary approach. I can say that this is a lady of dedication, honesty, passion for the nursing, and more important, the courage. Since last week, I am in very good touch with Bobby Manna. I'm listening so many, courageous stories by her. So I'm looking forward to her. And over to you, ma'am. Welcome to the show, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation and accepting to motivate our nurses. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Rupa. Thanks a lot for inviting me to the show. It is indeed a pleasure to be a guest for the show. Also, I'd like to congratulate you for this innovative and a wonderful initiative. And thanks to all the organizers and your team members as well. And today's topic, teamwork. Really, if I have to talk about teamwork, I need to correlate it with my experience spanning over 24 years. I'm a former group director of nursing for India Operations Division of Parkway Pentai. Also, I am a principal assessor for NABH, Nursing Excellence, and eye care organizations as well. Now, while I was in school, I was into NCC. So that was the first time, I'm stepping out to go for camps, staying with people from different districts. In fact, different states, like I was adjudged the best cadet at Kerala, and then I had to go for a competition to Delhi. And we were a team together. So teamwork was given so much of importance, and I got an opportunity to interact with cadets from different states, different culture, different language. And that helped me boost up my confidence levels, and also I could bag 2 national awards from Kerala as well. After that, I think I got into AFMC for doing my BSc nursing. As you know, in the military or in the army, wherein you do your nursing, definitely the training will be tough, both physically and mentally. You're trained to be tough, to be more confident. So I'd like to thank all my teachers there who had inculcated us the habit of being more confident, to use our critical thinking. And we were 28 of us from different states, at least from 15 states, I must say, different states, different language. And it was a fully residential program. So in spite of all tough situations, whatever crisis had come or tough training, we used to keep ourselves motivated, and we were taught to be adaptive to whichever situation. So that also is one of the reasons I can adapt. We are trained in such a way, whether in any crisis, we can adapt ourselves, and thanks to my teachers and the training at College of Nursing, AFMC, Pune. Now, after that, I should say that when I was 37 or 36, maybe I got an opportunity to be a chief nursing officer for the first time, because hardcore I was in the clinical side for around 9 years, and then I got into teaching. I was a principal of a nursing school. After which I moved into administration as a nursing administrator, wherein I was the youngest among all the senior people working there. So I had to join their post-strike. I think in 2012 there was a nationwide nursing strike, and post which they had created this post of chief nursing officer when there was already a nursing superintendent and a deputy. So I got an opportunity to work as a chief nursing officer and quality head of Muthoot Hospital. The Muthoot Finance Group has got a hospital in Pathanamthitta, so, in Kerala. So I joined there. So it was, you can imagine, post-strike, and the next compound is a TV news channel called Manorama. And when you join a newcomer, that also first thing was, oh, how she's so young and how she has joined as a CNO. Secondly, everybody used to look, oh, these staff have gone in for strike, so somebody has been appointed, you know, to take care of them or something like that. But it hardly took me a month or two to make them trust me, to take them along with me as a team. The main reason was that the team members, whatever the team members could share with me, their concerns or their suggestions, I could take it to the management. Frankly, I could have a clear line of communication with the management. And I observed that whenever my MD used to come to the hospital once in a while, the PRO used to take the complaint book to his office. And when he used to see the complaint book, patient complaints, he used to get pissed off. So I thought, why only complaint? 1 in 1,000 write a complaint. My nurses are working so hard day and night, and there are a lot of appreciations happening. So I thought, why not implement an appreciation book? So every floor, we had implemented an appreciation book. So patients used to write lots of appreciation. And when my MD used to come to the hospital for a visit, and I used to go and keep this appreciation register on his table, and used to make sure that he appreciate these in charges or supervisors, you know, for whom these appreciations are written. So all my in charges and supervisors, they used to feel so happy and feeling appreciated and recognized for their work, and that too by the MD of the healthcare organization. So that all made them have respect for me, respect for each other, trust me as their team leader, and cooperate with me, and we were successful as a team. And I should thank my MD there, Dr. Georgie Kurian Muthoot, who was also very, very passionate about nursing, and who used to give this listening ears, and whenever possible, he used to come along with me for a round, interact with the nurses, and he used to appreciate them for their work. So by means of appreciation, I should get the trust of my team members, and we were successful as a team there. One more example, if I have to say, that I was a director nursing at Jaslok Hospital, Mumbai. And Jaslok is a very prestigious old hospital wherein, you know, there were two categories of nurses, if I have to say. One category who are, you know, who have joined in their 70s, 80s and 90s, the older category. And one category of these new nurses who have just passed out from Kerala and other Mangalore and other places, who come and be there for 2 years and go. So it so happened that, and you know, taking them as a team along, implementing new changes, leading the nursing department for a nursing excellence, it is not possible without their cooperation and support. So it so happened that we had our NABH audit just on the previous day, on May 11th. So normally they used to have a good Nurses Day celebration. So it so happened on 10th and 11th, or 9th, 10th, 11th, we had our NABH reaccreditation audit, and all were so busy and tired. Once the audit got over, so everybody said, no, tomorrow we'll not celebrate Nurses Day because nurses are tired and they all are busy with their work also. But then I told my CEO, no ma'am, we'll go ahead with celebrating Nurses Day. I want you to approve this much money because I want to give 20 awards to my nurses. And my CEO, Dr. Tarang Gyanchandani, I must thank her here, that she approved that. She approved that immediately without asking a question or without any concern. And with the help of the marketing person, I somehow managed to get beautiful, they could arrange nice trophies and certificates. starting from the most promising newcomer to the nurse with the best smile, most popular nurse, you name an award. We made a list of so many awards, including Florence Nightingale Award for the person working there for a long time and was contributed maximum for the nursing department. And this was confidential between me and my CEO, and I made sure that I told my nurses, everybody attending the Nurses Day, we don't have any other cultural activities or anything. Just because in a short notice we decided to celebrate this. So let us all wear our whatever costumes or saris we are wear in different styles. Let us not wear in the routine style which we do normally. So everybody wore in different styles, and all were looking so colorful. You know, nurses, when they are in uniform, they look totally different, and when they are in saris, they look. And my senior supervisors and deputies and all those people are working since long. They are 50s, in their early 50s, many of them, late 40s. Everybody came dressed up so well. I just put on the music and told them, everybody walk the ramp. People were hesitant, but the juniors went and brought the seniors onto the ramp, and my medical superintendent, my chief operating officer, including my HR head, including my CEO. Everybody joined and did a ramp walk, and then we gave away all these 20 prizes. It was tears of joy in the eyes of my nurses, and they felt so happy. Ma'am, we never had a celebration wherein we got all these awards and recognition. So thank you so much for recognizing us and for our work and for appreciating us. And I could gain their confidence, and we were successful as a team. We did our nursing excellence together as a team. It's a huge hospital. We did with very, very minimal observations, and without teamwork, it would not have been possible. So this was another example. Two more examples, if there is time, I can just tell it quickly. So then I was a director nursing for Apollo hospitals in the Hyderabad region. And the medical director was my teacher also in college, a very senior person who retired from the army. And we introduced this daily rounds, structured clinical rounds on a daily basis from 10 o'clock to 12:30. No meetings, nothing, but we'll be on the ground doing rounds. And the rounds will be by the medical head, the nursing head, the operations head, the housekeeping supervisor, the dietitian, the IT guy. Everybody will go together as a team. During the process, it also, it is not only for looking into the patients, but also we get to interact with the employees. The employee rounding also happens. So the staff get to interact with us, with me, with others, easily, without any hesitance, even the junior staff. And we can hear to their concerns, if any suggestions, if they were having any shortage, all these things. And we could demonstrate that with this teamwork, we could bring down the patient complaints. We used to meet all the discharged patients. We could bring down the patient complaints to a great extent, to less than 50%. My ANSs there were all young graduates or who have done their masters, young ones, and we used to be busy with the work. And there I gained their trust, and we were successful as a team because I empowered them. They normally, if you see in many places, nurses are used to only following instructions and carrying out the instructions by their bosses. I don't believe in that. I always believe that I need to empower my teammates. I need to involve them in decision making. Whenever there used to be committee meeting, all meetings I need not attend. They also should get an opportunity to attend. So based on their expertise of the area, they used to be sent to represent this. So by empowering them, by involving them in decision making, by brainstorming with them, taking their suggestions positively, I could gain their confidence, and we were successful as a team. And by inter-team collaboration, by going in for these rounds in the morning together, we get time to talk among ourselves, interact among ourselves. So that also helped in successful teamwork there. Last but not the least, I being an NABH assessor, I must say that being an NABH assessor, even your hospital would have had NABH assessments. The assessment team, depending upon the hospital, there may be a 3-member team, there may be a 5-member team, and everybody comes from different parts of the country, different languages they speak. And if I'm going as a principal assessor, most of my teammates may be doctors, because I'll be the one, there'll be only one nurse in the team. and very senior people. Some may be introvert, some may be extrovert, some may be irritable, some may be argumentative. Everybody have got different qualities, but everyone work together towards a common objective of working together, and we're doing an assessment smoothly, so that you're also satisfied and the hospital also satisfied with the assessment. So my adaptability, which I was trained in the army, that was of great help to me. And I also believe that we as leaders should keep our ego aside. We should not be egoistic and too much of hierarchy. We should not believe in. Gone are the days when there is too much of hierarchy, and we will only meet the second in line or the third in line. We should be open for meeting the junior most. At Apollo, I have introduced skip level meetings for the junior staff. We used to have regular skip level meetings, so that the juniors also get an opportunity to meet me or the seniors without any fear or without any hesitance. They speak up to tell their concerns, or even to tell any suggestions for the improvement of the department, for optimizing the using of medical consumables, like that. Many things we used to discuss. So these were few of the examples which I shared from my clinical experience of over 24 years in various areas and various parts of the country. And definitely, without a team, the team leader is nobody, and without a team leader, the team is nothing. So everyone works together, and that is how trust each other, work together, and that's how a team can be successful.
Ma'am, here I really wanted to ask you any story where you actually find yourself in trouble, and being a team leader, or it could be when you were a team member, because we been listening that you were a team leader. Whenever you find any conflict situation, and how you handle that situation when you were as a team, you were as a team member, not as a team leader. Definitely, you are a very good as a team leader. But we really wanted to ask you any story, any incident.
I can tell in general as a team member, no. So see, as a team member, see, even if I'm working as a team leader, for example, in a hospital, I'm working as a team leader for a nursing department, but I'm a team member when it comes to collaborating with others. So when there is a crisis, definitely we had like sometimes like this crisis, sometimes flu times come, there will be acute shortage of a patient, staff in the hospital, acute shortage we have faced, a big time crisis 2 years back. But however, my team came to my rescue, and we sat and brainstormed how we will overcome this crisis. And we thought, okay, for a certain period, we will do a 12-hour shift instead of an 8-hour shift. And the team, everybody, because if you have good team members and you are also very cooperative and you don't have much ego, you are very much genuine in looking after the welfare of your staff. Any team member will be very cooperative. They will go to any extent to support you to do so. All the staff, without any hesitance, everybody were willing to do a 12-hour shift to tide over the crisis for 2 months. And then we didn't have any much, we had adequate staff, we didn't have any much problem. Even as a team member, when there are issues, I must take my CEO there at Apollo also. Sometimes he's my boss, right? So sometimes some things disappoint me, or I don't tell it out. But as a team leader in the morning meetings, every day at half an hour, we used to have a morning meeting. So definitely he could make out the difference in my, on my face. Later he'll call me, Bobby, come to my office. And when I go, he says, you're not your normal self. Something is bothering you. Tell me what's bothering you. And even if you say, no, sir, nothing is bothering me. No, you're not. I know that this is not the, Bobby, which I know, and you have some problem. So it may be related to my departmental issues and everything. I frankly discuss with him there, and then I feel relieved. So leaders have to also know the feelings of your team members. Everything will not be verbalized.
Emotional connect.
Yeah, team members, everything they don't. Some are hesitant to verbalize. Some think that every time they have to verbalize, so they just become mute and they just become introverts suddenly. So the leader should be able to see this changes and the and the change in feelings on the faces of your team members, and should be able to offer help and support. So which I face, and as a team member, even in the army, we used to have such crisis situations wherein I recently I saw that some delivery was conducted outside the labor room. So there was a news. So we had conducted deliveries outside the labor room, and patient is brought in a car or a cycle rickshaw, everything. So similarly, in the critical care areas, there will be, we used to take care of 1:10 patients. It used to not be like in private hospitals where 1:1 or 1:2. It was 1:10 patients. So as a team member, there will be so many situations. So you need to use your critical thinking skills. I told you earlier, our teachers have taught us and prepared us in such a way that in any critical situations, we use our critical thinking skills and prioritize what we have to do. And we were empowered to do. We were empowered even to give life-saving injections on our own, than waiting, because there used to be standard protocols. We could initiate those standard protocols to save the life of a patient during our night duty when nobody's there around and we are alone in ICU till the doctor arrives. So that is how, as a team member, my critical thinking skills and my adaptability has helped me in a long way.
Yeah. So we can say that because of your good emotional connect, your verbalization, moreover, it's not only that as a team member, but as a team leader. After listening you, ma'am, I realized that it is very important as a team leader to be a emotional balanced, as well as a person who is having high emotional quotient. Because with the high emotional quotient, we can understand the other's emotion easily, and that is how we feel connected. So one thing which is usually missing in the teamwork is the emotional connect. So team is nothing very mechanical. Yeah, you want to say something?
So you can finish. I'll tell
Yeah.
after.
Because after that we will be going to take few questions, ma'am.
Okay, so emotional connect or emotional quotient or emotional intelligence is very, very much important, whether it is for the team leader or for the team members. Because once you improve upon, some are born with good emotional intelligence, whereas some inculcate and develop the habit. So if you have to be a good team player, if you have to be a good leader, your emotional intelligence skill should be good. I recently read somewhere that in Google, Larry Page, the co-founder of Google, he had so many people in line to become the CEO with very good IQs. He chose chose Sundar Pichai over others because of his emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. He was very, very patient. He was good at conflict management. He used to not take everything every time to his boss like others do. He used to resolve it himself with his team members, and he was very patient. He didn't have any ego. So these are a few qualities which everybody should learn. And if you learn more about emotional intelligence, I had taken a session 2 weeks back also on emotional intelligence. I also got to read and update myself on that. It helps you make aware of your emotions in a particular situation. It helps you manage your emotions accordingly, and it helps you understand others' emotion, and it helps you influence others' emotion also. So by improving your emotional intelligence skills, so all that what you said, you'll have empathy towards each other, you will respect each other, you will have good listening skills. So good listening skills is very important. Be it a team leader or a team member, when you have a meeting, you need to listen to each other. Everybody will have difference of opinions. Everybody may be experts in different areas. All should be patient and all should have good listening skills and come to a common sense consensus.
Yeah, great. It was lovely listening you, ma'am. And thank you very much for giving us a good elaboration on EQ. And I request everyone, whether you are going to be a team or team member or a team leader, you should know about EQ as well as AI. That is a appreciative inquiry. This is a new concept. And as ma'am said, Sundar Pichai was chosen out of the race of so many potential leader in the Google just because of EQ. Of lately, I would say in a last half a decade, like last 5 years, this emotional quotient is one of the powerful quality of a leadership. So now, whenever anybody is walking into the multinational company or a corporate, and they are looking for a higher position, so management is looking for the emotional quotient, because this is the one thing which is keeping your team together. So this is one thing which is very important. Another thing is the team leader. Team leader should know how to generate interest of the team on that particular goal. So that is something where AI is always help you. It is not artificial intelligence. It is all about the appreciative inquiry. And I request my all listeners, so please go through this. This is very important. Yeah. So yeah, ma'am. Then I'll be starting question answers, ma'am.
Yeah, appreciative inquiry is a new concept wherein there are 4D. It is called a 4D cycle. Request everyone to go through that. This 4Ds are discovery, in which participants explore best of what is, identifying the organization's strength, best practices, and peak performance. And dream, wherein participants envision a future they really want. Design, wherein the participants leverage the best of what is and their visions for the future to design high impact strategies to achieve the goals. And destiny, it is also called as deploy, wherein participants put their strategies into action, revising as and when required to achieve their goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that, we are going to start questions now. These are the questions being sent by our regular, nurse guest who's attending our show. So first question is, what is importance of teamwork in healthcare?
See, teamwork is important in any organization. And in healthcare, it is all the more important because we are dealing with the lives of patients. Day in and day out, we are dealing with the lives of patients. And with good teamwork, as I had already said, it improves the patient satisfaction, patient experience will be better. It reduces errors. You have good teamwork, be it within your department or you're collaborating with other departments. When you have an interdepartmental collaboration and a good teamwork, actions will be very prompt. A nurse sees some change in the patient condition, she can immediately contact a doctor without a hesitance, and immediately he comes running. Patient will be taken care of immediately, and the patient outcomes will be better. And also, not only patient satisfaction and outcomes and reduction of error, when you have a good teamwork, you will have a positive work environment. When you have positive work environment, you will have less burnout syndrome. We say, like, when there is so much of workload, nurses, get burned out, or they go into a burnout syndrome. So they will not feel negative. They'll feel there'll be more positive work environments. Their satisfaction level also will be better, which in turn reduces the attrition also to some extent.
Yes. Well, let me tell you, attrition, especially for the government friends, this is a rate how frequently nurses are leaving our organization.
In government, it is rare, but nowadays even contract staff in government, they leave. They don't wait for them to get regularized or anything. If they find the work in with the youngsters, especially in olden days, people used to not leave. Youngsters nowadays, their patience and tolerance level are not that much. Whatever it be, if they find it not so conducive, they immediately think of quitting. Even in nursing, as a principal, I was working. Gone are the days when parents used to have six children, out of which one they used to send for nursing. Now every parent has got 1 or 2 kids, and they have taken care of them so protectively. And if the student calls up the parent and say, I'm finding it very difficult to continue staying in the hostel or dealing with this training, even at 2nd year or 3rd year, believe me, parents come and say, we want to discontinue the course and take my daughter home. She's not happy. And we say, no, don't take a foolish decision. Another 6 months she'll complete the course. No, they are not bothered. It's not that parents all are from very well-to-do families. They are from poor families. They would have taken loans, but still they give priority to the choice, and they want their daughters or sons, they should not be suffering, and whatever is their choice. So attrition definitely in nursing is high, and it will continue to be also.
Yeah. Our next question is, how to build team, promote team, and maintain unity in workplace and make it successful.
Okay. To building a team, trust is the basis of any team. Sometimes as a leader, you need to form your team, which is easier. You go and pick up people with the right strengths for whichever goals you're working on. You pick up team members with the right caliber, right skills required, and then form a team. It becomes very easy. Sometimes you join in a place new wherein already there is a team, and you have to get yourself adjusted to the team, which is quite difficult, because Everybody are different personalities. All 5 fingers are not the same. Some may be very cooperative, some may trust you completely, some may be so negative, some may be so hyper, some may be so indisciplined. So different people. So you need to bring them together. Leave aside all their negative side. Don't look into that until and unless it is affecting the work, or until and unless it is affecting your goal. Based on the strengths of each person, involve them as your team member. Have trust in them. Have open communication and be transparent. As a leader, one should not show favoritism. That is one thing which I have always practiced. Even as a student or as a team member, I have always seen the good things and some of the bad qualities, but I have always remembered these negative points. I should not be, when I become a leader, I should not be doing all these, or what I should be doing. So have trust in your team members, be transparent in your dealings, have open communication. Call your team members than having, hush-hush talks with your favorite people. Have an open communication with everybody, and don't show any favoritism. If you show favoritism, the others will keep away from you. They may wish you out of your power, they may follow you, but then they will not respect you, or they will not trust you so much. You will not have a strong team. So don't have any favoritism. Share your goals. What is the departmental goals, or what goals you want to achieve? These goals have to be clearly mentioned to them. Some will be grasping it very fast, some may be grasping it slow, but you have to ensure, whether it together as a team or having one-to-one meeting, you need to make everybody understand the goals which you want to achieve for the organization. Also, each person's roles and responsibility has to be clearly defined with timelines if possible. So once everybody's roles and responsibilities are defined and a target is given by when, what they have to do, why they have to do, when they have to do. So it will be more clear to the team members. They'll also be more motivated to work towards that goal.
Clear operational definition.
Yes, and also you should be able to resolve any conflicts with your team members. Also, team members also should undergo some sessions on conflict management, time management, and also emotional intelligence. I say definitely that will help them, work better and contribute better.
Yeah.
And sometimes, all have to disagree to agree also. Sometimes when there is so much of hot discussion going on, all need to have that habit of coming to a compromise sometimes. Always we don't agree, but we should develop that attitude of coming to a compromise also for achieving our organizational goals. So if I have to say, you need to have trust in a team. You need to see to the right skills or the strengths of the team members. Give them roles and responsibilities and clearly define the goals, and give them accountability. That is how accountability comes. And empower them to carry out their work than doing micromanagement. That is another important thing. I'm sure everybody would have had managers or bosses in the past. At least one would have been a negative person. At least one. Everybody will have example. Nobody will say like in my entire career we had all good bosses. So definitely, it will be easy for us to adapt ourselves, whatever type of bosses one has, to get adjusted and to work. And and bosses also should empower the team members without micromanaging them.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as you said that communication, so next question is pertaining to that. How to communicate effectively among team members for improving efficacy of the team?
How to communicate effectively? See, you can have formal meetings with your team members. You can have informal team meeting with your team members. First, when everybody don't trust you immediately. They will wait, observe, watch all your actions. The first, for some time they'll be watching. So you need to somehow develop a rapport with them and make them develop trust in you. You should also, you can, not only with formal meetings, every time you call them and have a long lengthy meeting. No, have short frequent meetings than long infrequent meetings once in a while. Short meetings, even casual, it can be formal, it can be when you're going on routes, it can be. So have short meetings and updates, ask them for updates towards the goal. And also, you can have some get-togethers, some team building exercise. In my previous organization as a nursing director, we used to having 100%, and normally the nursing director is so busy with the ward and ICUs and everything, OT, they don't get time. But I used to make sure that I used to have every month potluck with my OT staff, and sometimes lunch with my doctors in the OT. So when you go to have lunch with them once a month, they also feel happy. Oh, she's visiting the OT very regularly. What are their concerns in the OT from the junior staff and doctors? Everybody's mouth you get to hear, and you can help improve the department, or you can support them better. You can understand them better. So
Yeah.
so you have to trust them. You have to give them opportunities for communicating with you. That can be during informal and formal meetings. That can be during your team building exercise. Have some get-togethers when somebody's birthday is there, or some other, somebody is promoted, somebody had done the task well. Have an informal get-together immediately to appreciate that individual. So that helps in better communication.
Okay, so I'm going to ask another question, that what is your stand on gossiping in the team?
Oh, that means, see, nursing, though now, Bob, it is, we have to talk of gender equality. There are ladies also, there are men also, but primarily, previously, it used to be only ladies. Maximum, it is ladies, okay. And definitely, it is maybe, habit normally to gossip, good or bad, whatever. I don't get into that. But when it comes to workplace, gossiping should not be encouraged. Gossiping will be encouraged only if you have favoritism, and if you only meet some people, some members of your team, and spend time with them. I never used to do that as a leader or as a team member. So I expect that people should not get into gossips, because it leads to a lot of negativity, and it reduces your output, and it demotivates the other person also. So gossiping should not be encouraged by any team leaders. And if any of the team member come for giving some gossips and everything, please discourage it. That's what I said. Be transparent and have open communication. And gossiping, I must tell all those nurses out there, please do not indulge in gossiping. Many a times they go out of the department to gossip. I have also observed that. So I discourage them. Within the department, they gossip. So gossiping is not a good habit. They should refrain from gossiping. Then only you can be a better team.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So our next question is how to maintain the motivation of the team member when their team leader is dominating and wanted to have her favoritism, basically.
Some of your participants would have faced it, would have sent it, I think. So that is a question which I already told, that everybody would have faced a dominant leader, or a leader who would have been very harassing sometimes. Here I would like to say, dominant leaders need not be negative, because dominant leaders should know, there are two principles while dealing with people, they say. One is a principle of love and one of fear. So sometimes I feel as a leader, you need to use your dominant side, because in times of crisis, you cannot sit to have a democratic approach. That time you have to tell them what to do. In times of crisis, you have tight deadlines, and people are so relaxed. At that time, you have to be dominant. Dominant doesn't mean somebody is negative. Are you meaning negative people or dominant people, or both? If it comes to a negative person, or who's all the time not listening, and you feel troubled, it is always preferable as a team member, you go personally and take an appointment with your team leader. I have done that. I was not scared of meeting my team leader or my boss. If something had bothered me, I will take an appointment. I'll go and say that these things, I am hurt or I am bothered. I want to give a feedback, or I have a concern. So they can always tell it in a diplomatic way. Staff should have the confidence. So I unfortunately see most of our young nurses, they lack this confidence to speak up. Some of them are quite smart and quite confident. Some of them are scared or hesitant what the other person will think, whether they'll consider me rude, whether they'll consider me over smart. So they just hold them back. No. If something is bothering you, if your team leader's behavior is bothering you, you are hurt, take an appointment, go and sit in front of him or her and say, sir, I want to share something with you. I am disturbed, or I feel hurt. This is a feedback. And leader also should not feel so sensitive about a negative feedback. All the time you cannot be getting all positive feedbacks. So leader should be patient enough willing to listen and take these feedbacks and introspect and try to improve himself or herself. And still, if they find that the leader continues to be the same and they are not able to work like that in a toxic environment, then it is time for them to decide whether they want to continue in that place or whether they want to move on. So choices are plenty. Yeah.
Amazing. That's actually amazing and very bold decision, I must say. Thank you very much for raising this point as well, because so many people actually suffer and they don't know what to do. I feel that they are probably, just wanted to be in their comfort zone, and they really don't want to learn, and they really don't want to explore and take risk out of their life. If you are quite confident, if you have a faith on your, skills, and you are really ready to work hard, please go and take a risk in your life. So
gone are the days when it was only traditionally working in the hospital or in a college, teaching or in clinical side. Now plenty of opportunities are there, both in India and abroad. The demand is so much, but the supply or nurses graduating is very less. You need to be proud of that. You are in so much of demand. Update yourself. Yeah. Not only in nursing, you need to update yourself out of nursing. Becoming an NABH assessor helped me a lot. I updated myself in quality management. I did course in infection control. Now I'm doing a course in general management. Not because that I want to take up a job in general. When you improve your knowledge, when you update yourself, you will be confident to speak to any of your team members, be it from nursing or be it from other departments, and others too will respect you and will include you as part of their team. That is the main reason to improve your confidence levels.
Yeah. So my next question is, what is more difficult, being a team member or being a team leader?
See, team leader has got his or her own challenges, and government, they have their own challenges. Government, I know, with very less staff. Government and army are the same. The staff numbers are very less, and the patient numbers are too huge. And with limited resources, they have to work. And then they also have to, now government hospitals also are going in for all these quality accreditation and lot of data collection like private hospitals. You are also an NQAS assessor, Rupa, so you should be knowing. So with their limited resources, they also have to achieve their targets and goals. In private hospitals, lot of pressure on the team leaders and the boss. The boss's pressure will again percolate down to the team leaders, wherein they have to, with timelines, they have to work for achieving the targets, business targets, financial targets, optimization of various resources and everything. And it is not so easy, especially now during this crisis. So if the team leaders have targets and timelines, the team members have to help them achieve. So team members also have their own challenges to achieve that. They also need to work with timelines. They may have to be put up with team leaders who are quite tough. Every team leader is not friendly. Some team leaders are tough. Some are approachable, some are not. So both are equally 50-50. I don't say that somebody's job is a bed of roses or team members, but final accountability lies that 1% I'll give it more to the team leader, because the final accountability lies with the team leader. So anything goes wrong, then the team leader is held accountable. So in that way, team leader is more accountable.
Yes. So our next question is, how to work in a team with different nature people, negative, hyper, and egoistic.
I already told that all 5 figures are not the same. There will be hyper people, there will be egoistic people, there may be negative people. If you're working in a team, let us say that let us put all our personal and other things aside. Let us, what is my role? What is your role? Our roles and responsibility to achieve the goal. So we have to look at their strengths and work towards achieving the goal. And the leader also should encourage everybody to work towards accomplishing their goals. Team members also should not be mocking it or criticizing it on their negative. Everybody are not positive. If all are so positive and world is full of good people, then it will be a bed of roses for us, wherever we work or even at home. Everywhere we have challenges. If we have 2 kids or 3 kids, all kids are not the same. One kid may be less demanding and very quiet, and the other kid will be too demanding. So we have to get adjusted, leave aside their negative aspect, and focus on their strengths and utilize their strength towards achieving their goal by giving them right roles and responsibilities. However, if their negativity or if their egoistic behavior is affecting the team's performance, they need to be taken into confidence. They need to be counseled, advised. If required, they should be undergoing some training session wherein they need to improve upon. We need to give them time to improve upon, and if they don't improve upon after a particular time period, you need to have a performance improvement plan also for them. Within that performance improvement plan period with targets and timelines. If they improve, give them a chance to be part of your team. If they do not improve, and then you must decide whether you want them to be part of your team or not.
Yeah, very good. I actually want that everybody should focus and understand one point, that ma'am keep emphasizing and the strength of each member and strength of the team. We haven't talked about the weakness, so that should be the beauty of team. We should talk about always the strength of the team rather than talking the weakness, and therefore we bring so much negativity when we start talking about the weakness part of the team. So our next question is, as we are running short of time, how can we improve the team members understanding about the concept of teamwork? Because this is actually, if I'll say scientifically, it is a very understandable topic in nursing, especially in nursing.
So team members understanding of concept also, whatever I've told the previous points only, because if the goals which we have to achieve is clearly defined to them, if their roles and responsibilities is clearly defined to them, they'll be motivated and they will understand the concept of teamwork better. As a team, together we stand, divided we fall. Alone we can, do little, but together we can do much more. So if we could, percolate it down to the team members by defining their roles and responsibilities clearly, they'll be motivated to work towards those goals and they'll understand the concept of teamwork better, I'm sure. And I'm confident about that.
Here I just wanted to add one word: synergy. I hope ma'am can reflect more on that individual person can be add on that particular goal to achieving that particular goal. Synergy is when we are collaborating. 1 + 1 is equal to not 2, it's 11 when we are talking about the good team. Yes, so ma'am, it's a time for you to give us a quick and how we can be a better team leader, how we can be a better teammates, and how we can construct a healthy team. Well, I really wanted to introduce the concept of healthy team. It is a high time that we should start talking about the psychology of the team. We should talk about the physical health of the team as well as the mental health of the team. Yes, over to you now.
So I must say that the leaders, to the leaders, my advice would be that they need to trust their team members. They need to identify the strengths of their team members and involve them for the activities towards achieving their goal. They should be a role model. When we tell them to do so many things, but if you are not a role model, then the team will never accept you as their leader. So the team leader has to be a role model. The team leader has to develop, the team leader should not have any favoritism, and the team leader also should respect all your staff. Even if she's a junior most staff, you have to respect. Many of the nurse leaders, maintain this hierarchy and they do not respect these junior people. Similarly, in the team, if some senior and some, smart staff is there, they feel insecure, which I find in nursing, basically I find. I'm so sorry, it is no offense meant to anybody. So we should not be, we need to trust and empower people. Why we should feel insecure? We know what we are capable of, and if we can encourage our team member tomorrow, whether we are there or not in an organization, the work must go on. Every team member should be empowered. Every team member should be given roles and responsibility and a task, and they will develop and they should be motivated. That is how team will be motivated. So the team leaders should not have any favoritism. Team leaders should have a common goal or a vision, and team leaders should be able to motivate everybody, and team leaders should lead the task or lead the team than just sitting all the time and giving instructions. Even going for rounds. How many of the leaders go for rounds? They think leaders have to sit in the office and take report. No. You have to go on ground. You have to see everything. You also get to learn from the doctors, nurses. You also get feedbacks from the patients and others. So you need to lead your team. You need to set an example to the team, and you need to share your vision and goals with your team members. That is how, and entrust them with responsibilities. However, if a team member is disrespectful and team member is not coordinating, that also team leaders face. I should not be telling for having negative traits. There are team members also who have got negative traits or areas of improvement. I will say, I will not say negative, areas of improvement. So you need to call them, counsel them. But if people are very casual, very indisciplined, you have to pull them out, and you have to be very strict with them also. They should know that they have to improve upon their behavior. To the team members, I will say that they have to trust their leader. Leaders have different styles. All leaders cannot have same styles of working. So any leader who's their team leader or their boss, they should be able to accept them wholeheartedly, because, considering their different leadership styles, and they should trust them completely. And they must support their leaders. As the team leader has to support their team members, members also have to equally support the team leader, because without a team leader they cannot achieve. The team leader is a guide to help them, to encourage them, to motivate them. And for the team leader, they are your strength. They are your strength who will help you achieve that. So the team members also have to be cooperative. They have to have an open communication, avoid gossiping, which you already told. So these are a few points for the team members, I will say. And
I really want
to together, if everybody get together as a team, leaving aside your ego, leaving aside your personal issues, just focusing on our positive points and strengths of each other, complimenting each other, recognizing each other. You don't have to reward somebody in a function. You can reward them just in a meeting in your office. You can, if you have a WhatsApp group, you can appreciate in a group, oh, she has done a very good job, keep it up. You can send them mail. So reward them, appreciate them, and the team members will be by your side. Team members also should be appreciating leaders, because even leaders requires everybody, whether it is a kid or an old person, everybody requires motivation. If somebody appreciates, they feel motivated. From the team members also, it's vice versa.
Yeah, it's a gratitude and appreciation, which is the part of the coin and make your team healthy, mentally as well as physically. Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. We are really grateful to have you here, and with such a rich experience and positive motivational talk. It's going to help us a lot, and I hope all the listeners will be excited and getting so many good ideas that how they can develop and work on the health of their team and bring that concept of healthy team and happy team. With that, it's time to me to wrap up this session. Well, I really wanted to emphasize few points. Members keep saying the strength of the team. Team leaders should have the emotional connect with the team, and each member of the team should be motivating each other. And one most important point what we were discussing is be adaptive. It's nothing like that you have to be rigid. You should not be in your own cocoon and your comfort zone. Team means working together, so we should understand and be adaptive to each other. With this time, we are not having any take home lesson, but I just tried an innovative way, and I request Krish, because being a youngster, ma'am, actually we are having a very different idea about team, because I also gone through through a professional difficult time as well as a good time. So as a team, I have worked as a team member as well as a team leader. So I'm having a few questions, and I really wanted to have a rapid fire round. I request Krish. So these questions I will be answering, ma'am. I hope nobody minded. But yes, as a youngster, we do have this, poisonous things in our mind all the time, and we try to convert into the constructive way and teaching people. Yes, over to you, Krish.
Yes, good evening to all. Thanks, Bobby ma'am, for wonderful session. Yes, some rapid fire questions I have to Rupa. This is like a questions from the mindset of a team member. Okay, my first question is, what is working in a team? What is the benefit of working in a team? Sometimes people get into such thoughts that this is not going to work, this is not going to happen. So what is the benefit?
Yeah. So, well, I would say team is always a journey of learning new things. So it's up to you whether you are going to enjoy this journey or you are getting bored. So it is not that it is a benefit of working in a team. It is always a journey, and you learn a lot while you are traveling. So please, I request every team member, don't think negative whenever somebody is creating a team. And I have usually this habit, and people keep saying, "Iska to kuch nahi hone wala, ek aur team bana lo, kuch nahi hoga." So this is all that. It is a journey. Please learn out of that journey, and if you learn out of this journey, you will feel motivated, and you will not bore out of your life. Yes.
Yes. So second question is that if I will not do this work, this will not be done on time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, usually a few hyperactive and a few team member will usually think that, I'm very potential, if I will not do it, so this is not going to happen. Well, let me tell you, no, it's a myth. Work will be done. And it will be done on time also. Sometimes it happens that probably a most potential, team member got out of that team. So definitely it could delay, but it could be done on time also. But let me tell you, as a team member, it is going to be your loss if you feel that, if you will not done that, nobody else can do it. So you are going to lose the opportunity to learn. You are going to opportunity to add on your skills and learning out of that experience. So entirely the loss is that hyperactive member who is thinking that this work cannot be done without him. Next, please.
Yes, that was right. My next question is, if I work, why I always feel that why should I work? Am I going to be get acknowledged or reinforced?
Yeah. Well, as you can
a
see
team
on my
member, okay.
screen, yeah. So ideally, you should be acknowledged if you are working in a team. But if you cannot, so it will be loss of your team leader. As well said, ma'am, keep saying that, acknowledging the team. And the reputation of leader won't get sustainable recognition. Ma'am has given a wonderful example of Sundar Pichai, where he was chosen out of multiple potential leader just because of his EQ. So I hope everybody would be agree with me. If you really wanted to be a leader, you try to emotionally connect with your team. And this will give you another life lesson that, if you have worked ever in your life with a poor leader, then you are going to learn that, oh, when I will be leader, I will not do this. So this is again a life lesson for you. And I hope no teammates will lose this opportunity to learn how not to become a bad leader. Yeah. Next, please.
The next question, what can I do if no one assigned the work to me? It's there in your slide, actually.
Yeah.
What can I do if no one assigned the work to me?
Yeah. And, I really wanted to answer this question with a beautiful quote, which I keep on my desktop always. If you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. If you are in team, you have a clear cut, delegation of responsibility. And sometimes it is not. Try to experiment, because this will going to help you learning a lot. So next question. So now we are now talking from the team leader mindset. Yeah.
Yes, some questions from as a team leader. If I seek permission from team, or if I give more importance to them, will they stop listening me, or will they start disrespecting me?
Well, do you think after listening, ma'am, I don't think I need to answer this question because it is totally clear now that no, everybody respect high to that leader who is having a high humility, high emotional connect, and full of gratitude and appreciation. So I request all the people, if you ever get chance to become a team leader, please, please, please be appreciative, appreciate your team, appreciate their strength, and be grateful as much as you can, so that you will feel there is a change in your team dynamics. Yes.
Yes. So my last question, as a team leader, if I feel no one is dispensable,
Yeah.
if I feel.
This is a very important question because in a new concept of team building, team health, and now it is a team psychology, and philosophical aspect of the team. So as a team member, you should always think that you are dispensable. Nobody is permanent here. But as a team leader should always understand the importance of each and every member. Team leader should not ever think that anybody is dispensable, because every individual come with their own quality, with their own potential, with their own weakness, and everybody create a different gives a different view or a different feel to that particular work. So I request a team leader should not have this idea that nobody is dispensable. Yes, with that, I think our all questions
Yes.
are finished.
Yes. That was wonderfully you have answered, and it was like from both mindset. As ma'am has already said, working in a team and working as a team leader, both have different traits they require, and you have almost responded well. Thank you, Rupa.
Thank you, Krish. And with that note, I just wanted to end with this lovely slide that sometimes in a team, when we are working, we are feeling that overburden. If you are a potential person and you feel that, you are overburdened in the team, sometimes team leader can also think like that. But let me tell you, sometimes teamwork seems burden, but actually it is not. When you uh, uh, when you see the bag which we are carrying, I hope you can see the face of this girl and a boy. When you open this bag at the end of the teamwork, you realize that you added so many qualities, skills, experience, and few learning things which you cannot achieve out of your life through your education qualification. But working in a team can teach you so many things. With this note, I really wanted to end this talk show, I'm sorry. And I really want to sincerely thanks once again, Bobby ma'am, for accepting our invitation, coming to the show, and busting so many myths pertaining to teamwork and team leadership. Thank you very, very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Rupa, and thank you, Chris, and